Trex makes decks. They make it out of recyclable material. Last fall, Trex announced it would build a $400 million campus at the Little Rock port. I caught up with CEO Bryan Fairbanks to learn more. All right, October of 2021, you made an announcement of a $400 million factory campus going into Little Rock, Arkansas. Before we get into the details of that, tell everybody what Trex is, what the product is, and kind of what's a little bit of the science behind it in terms of recyclable materials.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Trex is the world's largest manufacturer of outdoor living products, and our primary focus is on composite decking and railing products. We grew to over $1.2 billion last year, and a key part of our success over the years has been our focus on using sustainable products. So approximately 95% of our deck board is made with recycled material. And of course, with the increasing interest in green, that's something that really resonates with consumers today.
Let's talk a little bit about what's happening in terms of market share. I've done a little bit of research on this. Wood decking materials is a huge component of people's home improvements. It's a big market. You guys are obviously vying for some of that market share, and you even indicated when you announced that you were coming to Little Rock that you're seeing a lot of conversion in that. Tell me what you are seeing statistically.
We are. So the repair and remodel market is quite sizable and growing quite nicely. Within repair and remodel, about 35% of it is related to outdoor living. So that's the side of the market that we're going after. Today, about 25% of decks installed by linear foot volume are composite products. We see a great opportunity to be able to expand that to 45, 50% of total volume. And that's a key driver for why we're coming to Little Rock and building a third manufacturing site.
$400 million is not chump change. I'm going to just put that right out there. That's a sizable investment for Central Arkansas here. Tell me why Little Rock? I mean, I can kind of look geographically, and it probably makes some sense to me in terms of that, but still you had to see some other things, some other factors that would make this particular location the most attractive one for you.
Yeah, absolutely. We did a search across a large swath of the center of the country, did a full site selection process that took us about 18 months. And as we worked through that process, the package that was put together by Little Rock for the location, the ability to be able to get rail service, great highway access, as well as proximity to raw materials, ended up making the most sense for our company. So we took all of those together, and then the support of the community in understanding that there would be sufficient labor for us to build what over time can be our largest facility. So the initial couple phases will be that $400 million, but there's the potential for it to go well beyond that over time.
Let me ask you a little bit of a subjective question on this whole site selection process. I don't normally get a lot of insight on this, so I'm hoping you can share a little bit with me there. But I kind of see site selection as a little bit like speed dating. You get a lot of, offers from a lot of different communities. You narrow it down. You finally find a few that make some sense there. How do you know a place is right? Is it just the financial package that goes in there, or is there some other quality or qualitative kind of assessment that you do that gives you the right decision making?
The early parts of the analysis is very data driven. You receive proposals from people all over the country. You tell them what the minimum requirements are, and the vast majority don't meet those minimum requirements. But you end up getting some that do meet the minimum requirements. Then you meet with the local leaders to understand how do things work in that area? What does the labor profile look like? What are average wages along the way? What does the infrastructure look like from an energy perspective? And locations continue to fall out from that point. From our perspective, we narrowed it down to 2 specific locations. And with that, the entire executive team did on-site visits where we met with all of the local leaders, of course, visited the property, talked with companies that had already built within those facilities. So you hear a lot of promises as you're going through this. part of that is verifying what you're hearing is real. One of the things that really impressed us about Little Rock is everything the local leaders talked to us about, we were able to verify with people who have already done it in Little Rock and have been very satisfied with the support that they've seen and feel that it's a great place to do business.
Well, I'm glad you narrowed it down to two places, Little Rock. I hope the other one was in Arkansas too. Just kidding. So tell me what's going to be on this initial campus, this initial $400 million will have, what will somebody see once it's finally opening and functional?
One of the great parts about the Little Rock campus is it's going to bring together 30 years of know-how for Trex manufacturing. In many of our facilities today, we have offsite warehouses to store the recycled material, to process material, and to do other operations. At this site, we're going to be able to do everything on the one campus. So you will see a building that will be there for the storage and processing of plastic. Of course, we'll have some offices there as well. And then a building to do decking extrusion. That will be our primary manufacturing at the onset. Of course, we'll have a finished goods yard, but also the ability to add on to that over time as demand requires.
Well, some of this, I guess what's going to be on this campus, was this, I guess, eliminate some potential supply chain problems that may exist now, just when we look at things a little bit more globally. Will you be able to have more in that campus that you can kind of control your own destiny on supply chain?
We source about 95% of our raw materials and just general sourcing for the company within the US. So we have not been as impacted by some of the overseas supply chain challenges. Now, within that 5%, it is fair to say we've seen a couple challenges around that. The Little Rock location specifically will help us from a supply chain perspective because it will allow our two plants that are closest to the coast, one in Virginia and the other in Nevada, to supply more of our international customers.